News Live at 10.
It's a little rainy outside.
That report brought to us there by London Hansbargen, a former VNL weather kit, and that hail was sent to us by another viewer that described it as window breaking.
Yeah, it's been a busy night in the weather department tracking the severe weather. This here is styrofoam you've seen strewn around. This is by the overpass. It's under construction south of 52nd Avenue on I-29. We're seeing lots of reports of wind damage across the valley tonight, including in Holly. That is where we find Valley News Team's Aaron Walling. Aaron, what are you seeing there?
Well, Justin, we're here on 5th Street here in Holly, Minnesota, where some trees have been knocked over and crews are currently trying to clear that out, trying to get to that house. There is some damage on the roof and to the gutter system around that house. I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a look and see the full extent behind me. Now, like I said, a strong storm had come through the area and had moved and knocked down some of these trees. And if you look in the back, you can see where they snapped, near the base, landed over, and they followed over onto that house. They've been using a lift up there trying to cut some of the trees off, as well as using a wood chipper to try to break down these trees. The crews have been out here for a while. They were here before us, and they've been trying to get this done, trying to get this cleared, before the next round of storms comes through the system. Now, I did talk to a resident here in Holly who says she saw the tree fall over.
I was looking out my front window and I saw it fall down, and it was just crazy. I was like, that whole tree just fell down. And then we saw that it was on top of the person's house. We didn't know how much damage it had.
Well, Stacy, Justin, that's not the only thing that's happened here on this street, as there is a lot of debris. You got branches and leaves all over the streets as the town tries to clean up before the next wave of storms comes to the area. Live in Holly, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
You've seen a pretty sunset out there right now. First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us now with the details. Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Tracking round 2 for the night tonight, already entering our south and western neighborhoods and starting to see some darkening of the skies over there. Looking now west on our Corwin Auto Tower cam. Looking east earlier, right around sunset, it was beautiful. It has some sun shining on those clouds that were off on the horizon. But now, excuse me, this is a time lapse. Oh boy, it's been a long Monday already. It's a time lapse. Let's take this full screen. Let's start over. I want to show you guys this time lapse of the storm that was making its way through earlier this evening. I'll start this over for you because this was just absolutely incredible seeing this this shelf cloud rolling into the metro, and then of course bringing that rain, that wind with it there, absolutely rocking our camera on top of our tower here. It's about 125, 150 feet, I believe, up above us here in the studio. You saw how quickly it came and quickly it went. It's some blue sky showing there about 20 minutes later, but it left behind some damage. Look at this. North Moorhead, Amanda Brown shared this tree down with us to our website, valuenewslive.com, and take a look at this from Horace, North Dakota. There's a house under construction there in Horace. Look at what happens when that wind comes through. And you can see that those freshly risen studs were just taken right down by those damaging winds that were going through there. You can see the front of this house comes off there as well. So really did a number on quite a few things, not just houses, but also trees. And yes, we had some hail with these as well. Take a look at this. This is from Beltrami, Minnesota. Earlier in the afternoon, Marcia Donnell shared these golf ball-sized hailstones with us. Again, to our website, valuenewslive.com. Tonight, yes, we're tracking severe storms. It has cooled off now. That's the good news, but still plenty of humidity in the air for these storms to use to fire off on. So take a look at this. This is the stuff that's exiting out toward the east. Some cities there, Bemidji, you can see just some light rain there. Wadena County, just some light rain, but shifting now toward the west, round 2. Jamestown, Barnes County, south and toward Oaks, seeing now our next round of storms. The severe stuff right now just into South Dakota. There's Aberdeen, there's Britton, South Dakota, Webster. This looks to be skirting its way toward the south and east of Fargo, which is where a new severe thunderstorm watch has been risen for our southern neighborhoods into Otter Tail and Wadena County as well. So take note, that goes until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that's a brand new severe thunderstorm watch. That one in Jamestown is still the original one. That goes till 11 o'clock. So we're tracking, Stacy, Justin, more severe storms for the overnight hours. We'll break that down hour by hour style here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks. And with the severe weather, it's a good idea to keep that VNL weather app handy for forecasts right at your fingertips. You can download and use it for free. Just search VNL weather in the App Store today.
Cass County Electric Cooperative is reporting 1,500 members are experiencing power outages tonight. Crews are trying to get the power back on. The outages were reported in the Oxbow, Hickson, Colfax, and Kindred areas. At this point, the co-op doesn't know what specifically caused that outage, but it happened as the strong storms moved through the area. Meanwhile, energy company officials say extreme heat was to blame for more than 2,000 power outages last night. Cass County Electric says AC systems throughout the region kicked in at full blast all at relatively the same time, causing a blown fuse in the grid. Fortunately, they say it shouldn't happen again, at least for this reason.
Just like if you plug in too many things into an outlet, you might have a fuse or breaker go, and that's kind of what happened.
She says that blown breaker forced an upgrade that has now increased the system's capacity.
Now to a Valley News Live investigation. Residents of the small town of St. Thomas, North Dakota are up in arms over plans to demolish the old K-12 school. St. Thomas School had been closed since last year. In a recent Grafton School Board meeting, leaders decided the school should be demolished. But residents say they still don't have a plan for what will happen once that school is torn down.
It's very sad to see it go down. We have a lot of family that's, have gone there, and their fathers and their grandfathers. So that's disappointing.
We'll continue to follow the story, and residents say the demolition is set to happen next month. And if you need help with an issue in your community, you can call us on our whistleblower hotline anytime. That number on your screen here is 701-369-3187. Again, 701-369-3187. Leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
An update now to a story we've been investigating for months. The Fargo School Board is holding a discharge hearing tomorrow morning for an English teacher accused of inappropriate behavior with students. Students say Kevin Kennedy made inappropriate comments and that he's overly interested in relationships between students. They also reported he would touch them without permission. Kennedy is also an instructor at Trollwood Performing Arts School. Trollwood says his participation in that program will be decided after tomorrow's hearing. One woman is behind bars after a leisurely tube down the Mississippi River turned violent in northern Minnesota last night. Officials with the Beltrami County Sheriff's Office say two groups of 25 people were all tubing down the river when a fight broke out. During the brawl, officials say 20-year-old Aaliyah Goodman stabbed a 21-year-old in the arm. She was taken to the hospital for treatment. Goodman was arrested and booked into the Beltrami County Jail for second-degree assault and minor in consumption.
A judge has now sentenced a Proctor High School teen who sexually assaulted his younger teammate back in September of last year. The offender, who was 17 at the time of the assault, pleaded guilty to using a plunger to sexually assault his younger teammate. The teen again pleaded guilty in May, and under the terms of that agreement, the case remained in juvenile court rather than adult court. He was sentenced today to 4 years probation. He'll also be required to register as a predatory offender for the next 10 years. New at 10, the identity of the bicyclist killed in Stutsman County yesterday has now been released. Authorities say 20-year-old Timothy Wayne St. John of Northbrook, Illinois, died after colliding with a pickup on Highway 10 just north of Jamestown. They say the driver of that pickup, 78-year-old James Charles Lease, came up on a bicycle from behind, bumped the back tire, sent both individuals into the ditch. St. John was declared dead at the scene. That incident remains under investigation.
South Dakota's Attorney General Jason Ravensburg will face trial starting tomorrow. He was impeached by the South Dakota House earlier this month over a car crash in which he killed a pedestrian, then left the scene. Ravensburg has been suspended from office since that indictment.
Preschoolers, infants, and toddlers are now all eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine, but the shots aren't available in the Valley just yet. The federal government first has to send them to the state to ship out. Essentia Health, though, says they hope to start giving the shots as soon as this Thursday, with appointments available to be scheduled as soon as tomorrow. Sanford officials, meanwhile, say they are still in the planning phase of the vaccine distribution. A warm welcome turned into a difficult struggle.
More than 1,200 Afghan refugees have resettled in Minnesota since last fall, and now some of them face difficult questions about where they're going to live long term and how they're going to pay for it. David Schuman has details.
3 months from now, Hasinat's rental assistance will run out and she'll likely have to find a new apartment, a ticking clock she's acutely aware of.
My worry is that that's not enough time for me to stand on my feet and be able to support myself.
Hasinat's in Minneapolis after leaving her Afghanistan home with her mother and teenage brother. 8 siblings are still there, a fact that weighs heavy on her. Hasinat spends her days working to learn English. On weekends, volunteers drive her to a rehab facility to visit her mother, who was paralyzed after being in the Kabul airport bombing last year that killed 13 American troops and about 170 Afghans.
I have the problem of caring for my mom, and I need a lot of help, so I'm hoping that some organization or some people can help.
These families have been uprooted.
Yusra Murad volunteers for Zakah, an organization that helps distribute rental assistance money to Afghan refugees.
We've now started hearing from a lot of families that are either at immediate risk of eviction or are looking at an eviction in the very near future.
It's unclear how many refugees are in that situation. Minnesota's Department of Human Services, which oversees resettlement, wasn't immediately able to provide an answer, but said in a statement, while many Afghan families secured employment and are economically self-sufficient, high housing costs are a challenge for all low-income families. The DHS is working with federal and local partners to identify gaps in resources that may be preventing Afghan families from finding suitable housing. Hasinat wants to go to school to become a nurse, but she knows finding a job and a cheaper apartment may be her only option.